Hello everyone. Welcome to Important Locations for Map-Based Question. This initiative it has been brought to you by Aptiplus Academy for Civil Services. My name is Shaikh Datta. I'm the faculty for Geography and Environment at Aptiplus Academy for Civil Services. So in this particular initiative, we are looking at those important places which have been in the news. And mainly by looking at these places, we will be able to attempt the map-based questions which are asked in UPSC prelims. So we'll be looking at places which have been in the news from the world map as well as from India map. We have looked at various sections of the world. For example, we had looked at South America, we had looked at Europe, we have looked at Asia, and especially we have looked at Central Asia, we have looked at West Asia. We had also looked at Southeast Asia, and in the previous video that I had made, in the previous video, we were looking at East Asia and South Asia. So we had completed the East Asia part and we have started with the South Asia part. Today we will complete the South Asia part. Okay. So just a quick recap on the places that we had already seen in our previous video. Let us quickly go through it. So one part that we had seen, that was East Asia. And in East Asia, the first thing that we had looked at was Hong Kong and why the protest has been going on in Hong Kong. So there we discussed the entire history of the relationship between Hong Kong and China, and because of the law which China wanted to pass, by which China was trying to reduce the autonomy of Hong Kong, that led to a lot of protests from the pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. Okay, so we have seen Hong Kong, and we had also seen the entire Treaty of Nanking, by which Hong Kong was given to the Britain, to UK, by China in 1842, and hence the cultural evolution of Hong Kong has been very different from that of mainland China. So that is why when UK gave back Hong Kong to China in 1997, an agreement was made that China will apply one country, two system policy for the next 50 years, that is till 2047, and after 2047 Hong Kong will become a completely part of China. But till then, the rules and regulations of China will be different from those of Hong Kong, and that is why a lot of issues, a lot of protests are taking place even now in Hong Kong. Next up, I think we had looked at Wuhan, and we saw that Wuhan has been in the news mainly because of the coronavirus, which had originated from there. And Wuhan is located at the confluence of two important rivers. One is Han and the other is Yangtze River. And we also saw that Wuhan, it is a very important industrial as well as commercial city in China. Plus, we had also talked about Macau. Macau is another specially administered region of China. Next, we had discussed about Uyghur Muslims, which is a community which is facing a lot of atrocities from the Chinese government. And this particular community is found in the Xinjiang province of China. Already I had shown you in the map where Xinjiang province is located. Also, we discussed the people in Uyghur, mainly the Muslim community, their language is very similar to that of the Turkish language, and also they believe that they are culturally and ethnically closer to the Central Asian countries. Right. Next up, we had talked about the demilitarized zone between North Korea and South Korea, and we had seen this particular zone is very heavily mined, and the reason behind that is because the war between North and South Korea, that is the Korean War, which was fought between 1950 to 1953, has not technically come to an end because there was no peace agreement between these two parts of Korea. So technically Korea, and that is North and South Korea, they are still at war. Why this area was in the news? Because Mr. Donald Trump became the first US president to have set his foot in North Korea. So that is why this was in the news. And this entire boundary between North and South Korea, it lies along the 38-degree north latitude. That is why it is sometimes also referred to as the 38th parallel. That is 38th degree north longitude. Okay, so this we had seen. Next up, I had also talked a little bit regarding a national park which is in China, which is in Nepal. It is called as Makalu Barun National Park. Why this particular national park was in the news? That is because we see that the Indian Army had announced that they have officially been able to locate footprints of the Yeti, which is like a mythical white bear, which is found in this entire area. So it has always been a part of folklore, a part of the local legend, you can say. But when Indian Army announced it, that became quite a bit of news. So please know the Makalu Barun National Park is located at the border between Tibet and Nepal. After that, we had also seen regarding the Brahmaputra River, which is a waterway for transporting goods between Bangladesh and Bhutan via India. Next, we had discussed in Bangladesh, it has allowed the planting of the golden rice, which is a genetically modified variety of rice, and mainly to fight vitamin A deficiency. And why is it golden in color? It is golden in color because it has beta carotene. It has beta carotene, and this golden rice variety, it has been developed by the International Rice Research Institute, which has its headquarters at Philippines. Okay. Now, moving on, another thing that we had seen was the Mekong-Ganga cooperation. And we had seen that there are 6 countries in the Mekong-Ganga cooperation, that is India, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. India, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. These are the countries, the 6 countries which are a part of the Mekong-Ganga cooperation. And we had seen the areas of cooperation that they have decided upon. Now, moving on, another very important organization that we get to see in South Asia, it is called as BIMSTEC. Okay, very important organization called as BIMSTEC. What is the full form of BIMSTEC? Full form of BIMSTEC is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical Economic Cooperation. I'll repeat once again. BIMSTEC, what does it stand for? It stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical Economic Cooperation. Multi-sectoral, you see, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical Economic Cooperation, the full form of BIMSTEC. Now, regarding BIMSTEC, if you see, I have 2 infographics over here. And if you look at BIMSTEC, already we have seen the full form for BIMSTEC. When was it established? It was established on the 6th of June 1997. It was established on the 6th of June 1997. So have some rough idea when BIMSTEC was established, 6th of June 1997. Okay, where is the headquarter of BIMSTEC? Please remember, headquarter is in Dhaka in Bangladesh. Now, current secretary, etc., all that we'll discuss later, but for the time being, that will keep on changing. But the headquarter will not change. So remember that the headquarter is in Dhaka. And we get to see that Nepal, it had joined BIMSTEC in February 2014. And so currently we have Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan, and Nepal as well. So earlier there were 6, but now we have more than that. There are many sectors for cooperation between these countries. The gross domestic product, or the GDP, the total GDP of this area is around $2.7 trillion. $2.7 trillion is the combined GDP for all these countries which are a part of BIMSTEC. Okay. So this BIMSTEC, it is a cooperation, it's a regional cooperation, basically regional organization for technological and economic cooperation among the South Asian and the Southeast Asian countries, mainly those lying along the Bay of Bengal. Now, of course, not all the countries are lying along the Bay of Bengal, but mainly those which are lying along the Bay of Bengal. Say, for example, Bhutan. Now, for example, Nepal. Nepal is not lying along the Bay of Bengal, but still it is a part of BIMSTEC. Okay. So here, another infographics which I have included over here. So you can see all the countries which are members of this BIMSTEC. There are 7 members now. Initially it was 6, but now it has become 7 with the joining of Nepal in 2014. It was founded in 1997 through the Bangkok Declaration. It was founded in 1997 through the Bangkok Declaration. What is the importance of BIMSTEC? Importance of BIMSTEC, if we see, then it accounts for 22%. Accounts for 22% of the world's population, because some of the very populous, very densely populated countries will be situated over here, like India is there, Bangladesh is there, and all these countries. So it accounts for 22% of the world's population, which is quite a significant amount of world population, almost 1/4 you can say. Combined GDP, you can understand it is around $2.7 trillion, which is also quite a lot. And also we get to see that 1/4 of the world's traded goods cross the Bay of Bengal every year, and that is why the Bay of Bengal becomes so strategically important area. 1/4 of the world's traded goods, it had to cross the Bay of Bengal, or it has to cross the Bay of Bengal every year. Okay, so accounts for 22% of the world's total population. It has a combined GDP of around 2.7 trillion dollars. Plus, we also get to see 1/4 of the world's total traded goods pass through this Bay of Bengal every year. There are 6 focus areas for this regional organization that they concentrate upon. So you have trade, you have technology. So these are the 6 focus areas. You have trade, technology, you have energy, transport, tourism, and fisheries. Okay? Trade, technology, energy, transport, tourism, and fisheries. These are the areas of focus mainly for BIMSTEC. Where was the first summit held? Now this is important. The first summit held, it was in Thailand. So 1997, we saw now through the Bangkok Declaration only it was set up. So that is why naturally the first summit had taken place in Thailand. Sri Lanka is the current year, but again that will keep on changing. So that is not so important. So here the same details we have discussed: India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. These are all part of BIMSTEC, and we get to see that 1997 में it was initially found. तो एकदम से पहले जब 1997 में it was found, only these countries were there: Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. Later on, one by one, addition has taken place. So all these things we have discussed, and leadership, it is rotated in alphabetical order of the countries' names. Okay, on the basis of the alphabetical order only, the leadership of this BIMSTEC, it keeps on changing from one country to the other. Important thing is the headquarter is present in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Okay, headquarter is always in Dhaka in Bangladesh. The thing is chairmanship that keeps on changing. Another very important area which has been in the news for a long period of time, that is with regards to the Chagos or the Chagos Island dispute. Chagos Island, first of all, where is this island located? The Chagos Island or the Chagos Island, this is located over here. As you can see, this is the area where we have the Chagos Island. So this area, it is also referred to as the British Indian Ocean Territory. This area, it is also referred to as the British Indian Ocean Territory. Chagos Island dispute, let us try to understand what is it all about. So again, we get to see that there is a dispute with regards to the sovereignty of this Chagos Island. And mainly we get to see that this dispute is with, or it is between UK and Mauritius. It is between, because you see Mauritius is located quite close to this Chagos Island. So this dispute is mainly between Britain and Mauritius. Let us see what is the issue. So we get to see over here that UK, it had given, it was given 6 months time to return these islands back to Mauritius. So right now it is an overseas territory of UK. UK matlab Britain. It is an overseas territory of Britain, and UK was given 6 months time to return these islands back to Mauritius. But as usual, what happens? This is a colony of UK. So naturally, they do not want to let go of their colony easily. So what did they do? They did not return it back. Okay? UK had given, so UK was given 6 months to return these islands back to Mauritius, but UK did not. So what happened? Mauritius, they went to UN, and UN said that it was an illegal occupation by UK. So the UN, it ruled against UK. So UN said that it was an illegal occupation by UK, and that should not be the case. UK should not be having control over the Chagos Island. The International Court of Justice, ICJ, the International Court of Justice, it has asked Britain to hand over the Chagos Island to Mauritius. As I told you, Britain was given 6 months time to hand over these islands to Mauritius. By who? By the ICJ or the International Court of Justice. But then Britain did not. So what did Britain do? Britain wanted to keep control over the Chagos Island because mainly of its geostrategic importance. So look at the case. So this area, as you can see, on one side you have the resource-rich Africa. Similarly, to the top you have the area which is very rich in petroleum. That is the Arabian Peninsula is there. Plus you also have India over here, and this Chagos Island is right. It is lying right in the middle of all the sea routes which the ships would have to take to reach the South China Sea area. So over here also along the South China Sea we have some very big economies. For example, you have China, you have South Korea, you have Japan. So all these big economies are there. So all the ships which need to pass between these areas, they necessarily have to go near the Chagos Island. So geostrategically, it is a very, very important location. So Britain wanted to keep control over the Chagos Island because of its geostrategic importance. Through these islands, West Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Southern Africa, and Australia could also be controlled and influenced. So this is the geostrategic importance of the Chagos Island. So Britain wanted to keep control over the Chagos Island because of its geostrategic importance. Okay, so there was some amount of interruption, some network connectivity interruptions were there. So anyway, just moving on. So we were talking about the Chagos Island and why it is so important for Britain, and that is why Britain did not want to let go of the Chagos Island. They wanted to keep it within their jurisdiction. So West Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Southern Africa, all those areas can be controlled if a country has its naval base in this Chagos Island. Moving on, the Chagos Island or the Chagos Island, it is an archipelago of around 55 islands in the Indian Ocean. So there are around 55 islands which together make up the Chagos Islands. It is at the center of the decade-long dispute over Britain's decision to separate it from Mauritius in 1965 and to set up a joint military base with the US on Diego Garcia. So over here, what has happened is this. First of all, the Chagos Island is an archipelago. What is meant by an archipelago? It means a group of islands. So it is an archipelago of around 55 islands in the Indian Ocean, and it is at the center of the decade-long dispute over Britain's decision to separate it from Mauritius. So UK, they had decided to separate the Chagos Island from Mauritius in 1965. And after that, what did Britain do? Together with USA, Britain set up a naval base, a military base over here on an island जिसका नाम है Diego Garcia. Plus, we also get to see over here, we have the Grand Chagos Bank, which is present. Always these banks area, they are important for fishing, having high biodiversity. So all these things are there. So what is the timeline? The timeline of the events which had taken place in 1965, we get to see that Britain had separated the Chagos Island from Mauritius, and 3 years just before Mauritius gains its independence. So Mauritius gained its independence in 1968. Just before that, in 1965, because Britain knew that they would have to somehow allow Mauritius to become independent. So just 3 years prior to that, they decided to separate Chagos Island from Mauritius. And they wanted to keep their jurisdiction, they wanted to keep their hold over the Chagos Island. They did not want to give it away to Mauritius. In 1966, we get to see Britain leases these islands to the US for 50 years. And this deal gets extended to another 20 years in 2016. That is, now the deal, it is all the way up to 2036. Okay, so Britain has leased these islands to the US for 50 years to set up their military base on Diego Garcia Island. And this deal, it has been extended to another 20 years in 2016. That is, now it is extending all the way up to 2036. In 1968 to 63, that is after Mauritius gained its independence, between 1968 and 1973, we get to see almost 2,000, or I guess it was 20,000 Chagos Islanders. They were evicted, and mostly they were sent to Mauritius and Seychelles Island. Okay, so the people, the native people of these areas, they were evicted, they were thrown out of the islands, and they were sent to Mauritius and they were sent to Seychelles. In 2019, we get to see around 10,000 people from Chagos Island, and their descendants are divided among Mauritius, Seychelles, and Britain. So this is the situation right now. Okay, around 10,000 people who originally are from the Chagos Island, and their descendants are now they are not being able to live together. They are now separated in different parts, because some of them have been sent to Mauritius, some of them have been sent to Seychelles, some of them are in Britain. So this is the situation right now. This is with regards to the Chagos Island dispute between Mauritius, UK, and of course some amount of USA presence is also there. Another important island which has been there in the news, that is the Bhashan Char Island. Now, before I go into Bhashan Char Island, you need to know about the Rohingya Muslim community. I had already discussed a little bit regarding the Rohingya Muslims in my previous video. So Rohingya Muslims, they are a community which is originally present in Myanmar, but we all get to see that the government in Myanmar, it refuses to acknowledge the fact that this community is a part of Myanmar. So they believe that these people are outsiders, and mainly they have come from, these are Bengali speaking people. So they have mainly come from outside, and they will not be given the citizenship of Myanmar. So the Rohingya Muslims, they are like stateless people. They do not have a nationality. They neither get the facilities or the benefits that they are supposed to get if they are a citizen of Myanmar. So ultimately, the thing is that these people, they undergo a lot of atrocities by the army, by the police in Myanmar, and hence they try to flee from Myanmar. But where will they go? So the nearest place that you can see over here, so this is Myanmar, and in Myanmar, this Rohingya Muslims, they are mainly concentrated in this Rakhine province. The Rakhine province, that is where you find this Rohingya Muslims. So where will these people go? The nearest place that they have is Bangladesh. And in Bangladesh, we get to see that these people, they will come as refugees. And we have a huge refugee camp housing all these, thousands and lakhs of Rohingya Muslims. All of them are housed over here in Cox's Bazar. So Cox's Bazar is an area in Bangladesh which has a huge refugee camp, mainly for accommodating all the thousands and lakhs of Rohingya Muslims who cross over from Myanmar into Bangladesh. Now the thing is, Bangladesh itself is a very densely populated country. Also, it has a lack of resources. It's a very poor country. Naturally, with so many people coming in, it cannot afford to house these people in a proper area. So that the thing is, they are housed in very unhygienic. In this particular refugee camp, which is there in Cox's Bazar, the refugee camp is very unhygienic. The conditions are very insanitary conditions are there. And now with the pandemic raging everywhere, even the pandemic has made its way into the refugee camp. So as a result of which, what Bangladesh had decided to do is to shift some of the people who were willing to shift, to shift some of these people to another refugee camp which has been created in an island whose name is Bhashan Char Island. So Bhashan Char Island was in the news because that is the area of relocation of some of the Rohingya Muslims from the refugee camp at Cox's Bazar to this particular area. Okay, this is what was decided by the Bangladeshi administration. So in Bangladesh, we get to see the proposed. So this Bhashan Char Island is present in Bangladesh. It is a proposed island for relocation of the Rohingya refugees. Almost 1 lakh of them will be relocated from the Cox's Bazar refugee camp to this area. They are presently residing at the congested and densely packed Cox's Bazar refugee camp, and this problem lies over here. Now automatically you would feel that they are present in a very densely packed area where there are the least facilities are not present over here in the refugee camp, and also the pandemic is raging everywhere. So that will give rise to a lot of difficulties for these people. So it's a good move. But the problem lies in the fact that the location of this Bhashan Char Island, you can see the Bhashan Char Island, is very far away from the mainland. So this Bhashan Char Island, it almost takes 2 to 3 hours or even 4 hours to reach Bhashan Char Island by port. And it is an uninhabited island. So naturally, if it was habitable, then people would have already settled over here. But it is uninhabited because it is very frequently affected by cyclones, by floods. It's a place where it is difficult for human beings to live actually. But because there is no space as such in Bangladesh anymore to accommodate these people, so that is why the administration, they have convinced around 1 lakh of the Rohingya refugees from this Cox's Bazar refugee camp to move to this particular island, Bhashan Char Island. It is situated at the mouth of river Meghna. It is situated at the mouth of river Meghna. Please remember this. It is an uninhabited island situated at the mouth of river Meghna. So here I have put an infographic. So you can see Bhashanchar. It's a Bengali word which basically means a floating island. It is a floating island. It has emerged from silt around 20 years ago. So UN or the United Nations, they are of the opinion that we are not yet sure about the permanence of these islands. Matlab, they had emerged around 20 years back, and they can also again get submerged under the waters of the river. So that is also a possibility. So that is why UN is against this move by the Bangladeshi government to shift or relocate some of these Rohingya refugees to the Bhashanchar island. Also, we get to see it regularly floods during the June to September monsoon season. And around 6.7 square kilometer is the area of the Bhashanchar island. The entire project cost around 280 million US dollars, and this is the kind of structures which will be created to house all these people. Also over here, the housing will be in a very dense manner, but there is no other way out. So this is how the entire structure, how the entire plan is supposed to be. Now, what is the issue over here? The issue is that it is ecologically a very fragile area. It is very, very prone to various natural disasters like cyclones, floods, soil erosion, etc. keeps on taking place, and even it is not yet confirmed whether this island will be existing, let's say 50 years from now, or even less than that. Why will it be? Because this entire area, it is a very dynamically changing area. It keeps on changing continuously. Because this area, we get to see silt is deposited by the rivers, and also the rivers, they carry out erosion as well. So from one side erosion will be carried out, from the other side you will have deposition taking place. So this area, it has a very dynamic changing landscape over here. A very dynamic landscape is present over here. So UN is not really very sure of the permanence of these islands. Also, we get to see that it is very far away from the mainland. So in case of any emergencies, it will not be able to possible to evacuate these people. Let's say a cyclone is coming, it won't be very easy to evacuate the people over here to the mainland. So it is almost 3 to 4 hours by boat it takes to reach these islands from the mainland. Who are the Rohingyas? They are the stateless population who mainly reside in the Rakhine state of Myanmar, and they follow Islam, and they are subjugated, they are oppressed and by the government, the army, the police in Myanmar. So these are the Rohingya Muslims. They are mainly a Bengali speaking population. Okay, so with this we complete South Asia. So we have looked at East Asia, we have seen South Asia, and I hope you have liked this video. Please let us know in the comment section, and also please like, share and subscribe to AptPlus's YouTube channel for more such informative videos. We'll be back again with another episode of important locations for map-based questions. And till then, stay safe, study hard. Thank you so much.
I'm an icon, man. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz.